Hello, all. I hope you're all doing well and had a productive week. We are continuing with our weekly portion review, and this week we are in the portion of Ki Tavo. And in Hebrew, this would be, and so you will come, coming to the land, approaching the land of Israel, finally. And the portion really talks about the ceremony of the first fruits, the bikurim that are given. We have a focus on tithing and the famous blessings for observing the commandments and the curses for violating the divine law, the mitzvot. As we generally do, we want to focus on a specific topic over here, and here I want us to jump back and forth between Exodus and our portion here as well. And I want to focus on the cry of the Israelites. Now we learned in previous portions, right, when the Israelites leave Egypt, they were crying during their enslavement, right before they leave, and it's well known within the Jewish people that when a person or a community is in distress, they should, of course, pray to God. And we're told that through heartfelt and tearful prayer, God ultimately answers our requests and our prayers. Now, this idea, of course, seems fairly simple, yet not everyone actually knows how to pray, not at all times. And what would someone do who's distressed but doesn't actually know how to pray? What's the proper sequence? What's the proper words? What's the proper mindset? Now, in our specific weekly portion, we are told that when our ancestors were in Egypt, they say, Egyptians mistreated us, they afflicted us, and imposed harsh labor on us. Now we cried out to the Lord, the God of our fathers, and the Lord heard our voice. Right? This is in Deuteronomy 26, verses 6 and 7. Now, this gives the impression that our ancestors did pray to God, and as a result, they were redeemed. However, as we mentioned, if we look closely at in the portions in Exodus, we see a different picture. There it says, the Israelites groaned under their labor and cried out. This is Exodus 2:23. It doesn't say that they cried out to God, but only that they cried out, right? Uh, Yet later on it says their cry for help went up to God. Now, this seemingly teaches us that even though our ancestors did not intend to pray, right? They were just complaining. They were in anguish, and they might have not even been able to pray, right? We're told that they were idol worshippers at the time. They were at a very, very a low state spiritually, and they must have not even known the Hebrew sequences. Yet their groaning was considered by God as a prayer. And in our portion as well, if we pay attention to the cantillation marks, right, this is not known to everyone, but we also notice in the phrase "we cried out" is separated from "to the Lord our God," right? And this is really suggesting that they cried out because of their suffering, and God, in His infinite love for us and His compassion for us, treated their cries as a prayer dedicated to Him, right? And we learn from this when a person is actually in distress and in pain, there's unconscious dimensions of their personality that actually emerge. And those are really revealing their inner essence. It's as if to say that they had, they really wanted to direct all their intentions properly. They just didn't know how. And this quality of ours really especially manifests through speech, right? Through us crying out. Now, in everyday life, there is a simple expression among the Jewish people that that assumingly are filled with holiness. And the Talmud tells us, as the people say, right? This is like a common expression. And there seems to be an assumption that a simple statement of the Jewish people also has in it an inherent wisdom due to them being the priestly class. Now, it has been said that even a casual conversation of Torah scholars requires study. The Talmud teaches this. And a casual talk of people of the land of Israel also requires study because it's very, very meaningful. And we can see today that there is a spontaneous expression in ordinary Israelites, which it's often not explained by their conscious awareness. So, for example, if there are two Israelis, they might meet and talk about all the problems that the country is dealing with, specifically today, the war. There's obviously a lot of infighting between different Israelis, and after this long discussion, before they usually part, they both say in Hebrew, "Yeh tov," it'll be okay. Now, where does this optimism come from? Because obviously, are we not aware? Like what we're aware of suggests the opposite, right? We're talking about all these issues we have. So, seemingly, this casual statement of "Yeh tov," it'll be okay, is actually an expression of a deep inner spiritual quality of the people of Israel, right? As the Talmud says, we are believers, sons of believers. And even in the midst of all the troubles we're dealing with, God ultimately delivers us. And all the mindful barriers that suggest that things are bad ultimately can be overridden by this subconscious statement that eventually finds its way to the Jewish mouth, right? Which is, at the end, it will be okay. And we have to realize that while things seem to be quite dire right now, we need to maintain an optimistic point of view. We shouldn't be naive, but we should realize that God is always working, right? And we can't see his face, but we should realize that in these motions that are happening, God, of course, is there. We should identify in all this noise the divine signal, amplify it, and try to orient ourselves to move forward. And as we say, Yetov, Shabbat Shalom.